It's that time of year again where I look at all the movies that I mostly praise to the heavens, pare them down to an identifiable list of just a few with some honorable mentions, and then open it up for debate in the comments where people wonder how the fuck could you praise that? How could you not rank this higher? And I answer to that, it's my list. Fuck you, and that's what I'm going to get to right now. I'm John Rentham with my 25 best movies of 2024 list with some honorable mentions, and all of these movies have been reviewed in full on the Real Honest Movie Reviews playlist, and yeah, over 300 movies that I reviewed from this year. And I thought 276 from last year was insane. I thought that was hard to break down. Oh boy, and I have given an A grade, A minus, A plus to well over 50 of those 300 movies. Now, to be fair, I've also given B grades and even C grades to some of them, so it hasn't been just all a bunch of F grades, or has it? You'll have to check out that video when it posts, along with this, along with the others, and I do want to thank you guys very much for continuing to stick with this channel as I descend further into madness. But speaking of descending further into goddamn madness, there's a lot to talk about. Honorable mentions start now. We go to Mars Express, a French animated movie that has terrific style, terrific substance, doesn't overstay its welcome. I drove to a theater that basically is in a dead mall to watch this, and I think there was one other person in there, and I think they left like 10 minutes in, so I had a private screening. Hooray! Mars Express, though, is very terrific and touches on a lot of things about AI and it's set in the year 2200, so I don't think any of us have to worry about being around unless our heads are in a goddamn jar like Futurama. Bird, Barry Keoghan, and some other terrific performances. Really good stuff as far as troubled youths, as it were, and just, blending, families together and everything. I actually really liked it and thought it was a really, really beautifully told story. Not totally perfect, but deserves a shout here. Rebel Ridge, a very good Netflix original. Surprised me, considering Netflix originals are usually dog shit. Great action, great story, and just all around really, really good stuff. Origin. Well, this is a tough subject. It was one of the first films that I saw this year, and it was a Regal mystery movie, and it was very good. Very good. But my word is Origin tough. Had it not been for a bunch of other movies being, in my opinion, a little bit better, ones that I enjoyed even more, I would have probably ranked this in the top 25. Late Night with the Devil. Great Shudder originals, like an old 70s master tape or, beta or whatever, taken out and just shown to us in theaters. Yeah, admittedly, upon rewatching, the third act goes a bit off the rails, but I really enjoyed it. And the girl that, plays the possessed, plays the possessed one, she did terrific. She's got a bright future in horror. So then we go to Femme. Very surprising movie here about being true to yourself and accepting people as they are. And yeah, I'm not really going to give spoilers here, but I'll just say Femme has two terrific lead performances and just really, really good shit. I mean, just a lot of really, really good stuff to sink your teeth and other parts of your body into if you're into that sort of thing. Problemista. I mean, Tilda Swinton. And Tilda Swinton, and then you have, somebody just wearing a whole bunch of hats, being the star, being the writer, being that stuff and everything. And not Tilda Swinton, but the young man that ran this particular thing. A lot of names here that I'm not necessarily going to remember because it's a lot of shit to remember. But he did a great job. It was just a great all-around effort from A24. Problemista is very, very terrific. Conclave. The performances really drive this thing. I actually went and saw this very, very late at a theater about 30 miles south of me on a Thursday when I had to cover an extra shift. And I'm really glad I did. Ralph Fiennes and Stanley Tucci and Isabella Rossellini doing tremendous work still after so many years. Very well balanced, even if the explanation for the whole thing is a little bit silly and, well, at least silly to some. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was a nice cherry on top of the conclave. But it was good shit. Then we go to My Old Ass, featuring the incredibly gorgeous Aubrey Plaza. Good grief. Good goddamn grief, Aubrey Plaza. My word. My word. Maybe I will profess my love for her one day. But Amazon MGM Studios presented this tale about, her old self visiting her younger self to tell her about some things. And really, it's about life and having to experience certain things, both good and bad, on your own. And then we go to Lisa Frankenstein. I mean, as Catherine Newton in it. How could I not watch it? Cole Sprouse, by the way, was really good as well. And it just had a nice, bit of ooey gooey 80s cheese. It could have leaned into the silliness just a bit more. I feel like as much as silliness as there was and as much style as there was, it's like they could have, maybe gone for, a little bit, more bite. But it ended up working, pretty much as well as something like that could. Now we get into the top 25 with red rooms over there. Be careful when you go on the dark web looking for shit and trying to pay for a bunch of shit and getting wrapped up in stuff, or you could basically lose everything, including your mind. At least that, I think, was the whole point of Red Rooms. Red Rooms was very, very insane. It really, really goddamn was, because holy shit, great performances. A deep dive into getting too wrapped up in a serial killer's life, and just, it's nuts. Tremendously performance as well. Really, really good shit. I ended up spending about $7 or $8 to watch this on Amazon, and was really happy I did, because my oh my, they really, really did some good shit here. It had a hell of a goddamn third act. Really insane when it started to kick things into gear, and it was, just under 2 hours. But it more than, made up for any slow building with, we're just going to kick things into gear. And, you don't like seeing this imagery. Well, don't worry. We won't show you everything, but we're going to imply enough shit so it's going to haunt you. And it sticks with me. And that's why, even though it's a little odd, it gets on to the top 25 right at the end. So we go to number 24, The Teacher's Lounge. So, fun fact, also, the main actress in this was also in September 5, which is another movie you should check out. Not as good as The Teacher's Lounge, but it takes place at a school. There is a certain thing that happens, and it just really, really works as a central location with, now, if you gotta want to read subtitles and everything, because it takes place in another country, but it ends up working 100%. It's about what what a student may or may not be guilty of. And accusations, can accusations splinter off? Can it bring other people down? Can it cause other people to go a little bit nuts? What could happen? One little white lie or one little accusation could end up ruining someone's life, or it could turn out to actually be the truth, but you may not want to fracture that particular person's life, and you don't know what somebody's going through, or somebody could just be a full-on dick. All these things are explored in The Teacher's Lounge. So we got number 23, Infested. It's what Sting should have been. It's a spider movie that's insane. Absolutely insane. It's on Shudder. Please watch it. It's really good. It actually, is how a monster movie should be done. I would shout Mads on here, but I feel Infested was just a little bit better. That's why I gave the nod to Infested. But Mads also deserves a good shout. Infested, really good performances and just a lot of, nice ooey gooey body horror. Going to be a lot of that on this list. But Infested is worth checking out on Shudder. Number 22. What a wonderful day! Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. To me, the best of the franchise. At least the best of, the newer arc. From 2011, 2014, 2017. And then they did this. And I wasn't so sure about this one. And I ended up rewatching, the original trilogy. And they continued it with Caesar's teachings after Caesar, sorry, spoiler, died at the end of the last one. And now 300-something years later, let's just say certain people have been taking over using tyrannical behavior and, trying to control people because they're weak-minded, ballless little individuals. Good thing that isn't happening in any country currently. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is very good with a nice lead performance. There was a great orangutan character. Just, again, a lot of stuff going on in this movie, in all these movies, to where certain things are blending together, but there's just a great balance, great humor, and some very, very good action. But it does take its time telling its story, and it also may possibly, cover my ass here, imply that we might be getting a sequel. And after Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I'm all fucking for it. Number 21, Kneecap. Yeah, it's about the Irish rap group that want to keep the original Irish language alive, and yeah, there you go. It's very good. They play themselves, and they don't phone it in. They don't think that they're, Just hot shit that can coast on their reputation. They sink their teeth in their characters. They prove that they're very good actors. I'm glad they included captions because I wouldn't have been able to understand a fuck bit of any of the dialogue. Well, most of the dialogue and the raps. But I'll say it's not necessarily my cup of tea. But goddamn, it's catchy music. It is very catchy. In fact, I need to listen to some more of this after I'm done recording. But Kneecap was quite good. I think there was like one other couple that was in there, and I think they might have fallen asleep. But I like Kneecap. I thought Kneecap was good. I wish it would have done better in theaters. Number 20, Perfect Days. So, you have a man working a janitorial job. We don't know much about him. He listens to certain music. One hell of a goddamn soundtrack, that is. Certain people come into his periphery, but he's just cleaning Japanese toilets. And man, they are living in the year 2060 with their toilets and with their stuff. Meanwhile, us, look at our rest stops. They're goddamn bullshit. But it does show how routines getting interrupted can bother people, but great lead performance. Well written, well performed, and it relies on a lot of facial expressions at the same time. So, and the lead actor's absolutely up to the task. It's terrific fucking shit. Perfect Days is really, really good. And in fact, the fact that it's number 20 says a lot about the high quality of a lot of stuff this year. Number 19, I wasn't sure about putting this on until I thought more about it. Heretic, Hugh Grant in an absolutely amazing lead performance. With two young actresses that are right up as two missionaries right up there, with his great filmography. They matched him beat for beat. But Hugh Grant was great and creepy. And it balanced enough stuff. Yeah, I kind of tried to both sides the religion thing. And you know my opinion on religion. I think it's all bullshit. But if it works for you, that's fine. But Heretic, to me, worked. Even if it was pretty obvious and tipped its hand early where it was going. Even if you didn't see the trailer, within the first 20 minutes, you know exactly how this is fucking going to go. But when the violence kicks in, when the other stuff kicks in, A24 absolutely excelling with their distribution of certain films. Actually, I think they might have produced this themselves. The whole thing is, Hugh Grant's performance is the main feature. But you have two other great lead performances, and you have Topher Grace in a supporting role in almost unrecognizable hair. So Heretic's very, very good. And then we stick with A24. I saw the TV Glow at number 18. Justice Smith and Miss London. Boy, Jesus. My goodness. Two incredible performances. Justice Smith making up for the fact that he had to slum it in the Society of, the American Society of Magical, not going to finish the rest of that title, which wasn't very good, despite him having actually one pretty good scene towards the end. But I saw TV Glows about gender identity and being true to yourself, not hiding who you are. And there's always time to show who you are. But man, that birthday scene, that birthday party scene, and other stuff even before that, getting wrapped up in a particular television show. The fact that this film, I think more and more about it. I actually did rewatch it about 3 weeks ago when I had some time. I was like, let me see if it still holds up. It's actually better. Upon rewatching, you can actually appreciate more of what Jane's vision was. They did a great job. And even Fred Durst was in this. Yeah, I know. It's kind of fucking weird. Fred Durst was in 2 A24 movies this year. He was in this, and then he was in Y2K. Y2K is not on this list because Y2K wasn't very good. But that's not Fred Durst's fault. I saw TV Glow, very good. So we go to number 17, Inside Out 2. Yeah, if you told me after watching the first Inside Out that this sequel would have exceeded expectations and made me cry, I would have laughed in your goddamn face. But anxiety can make anyone cry, and anxiety in this made me cry. And it got to me. It beat me down there. That scene at the end where anxiety's running around and you got, you got all the thoughts going on in your head as a teenager. A lot of adults go through that stuff. There's just a lot of really good stuff you can sink your teeth into. And Inside Out 2 is not just a worthy sequel. It is one of the best Disney sequels that they've ever fucking done. I will fucking die on that hill. But it expanded the story while staying true to the original. But it cut out enough that I think it worked, just balancing everything. I think it just balanced it a whole lot better than the original did, in my personal opinion. The original wasn't bad. This is better. Number 16, Suriko and the Kingdom of the Winds. Well, this is just bizarre, really bizarre. Studio Ghibli influenced, and Very, very much about, okay, you get wrapped up in something, or there's two sisters that get sucked into a book, essentially. They find out more about people that they've lost. Beautiful animation, absolutely stunning sequences at times. It does not overstay its welcome. It's like 80 minutes long, I think. But it's great shit. It is one of the best animated movies of the year. Not the best. We're going to come up on a couple of those here in a bit. But this is exactly the type of shit that everybody can appreciate and you can sit down there with your kids and watch this stuff, even though I think it might be a little tough for some, especially near the end. Like, it's like, especially like the last like 20. Once it really becomes obvious what the main focus of this is, it gets a little bit jarring, shall we say. So let's get to number 15. Okay, what kind of American are you? Civil War, A24. A lot of A24 on this list. A lot of A24 on this list, because A24 does really, really good shit. I mean, you just have so many. Just Jesse Plemons with a great role here. You have Kirsten Dunst. You have just a lot of great shit here. You just have a lot of great performances. It tells the story of a dystopian, America, where they have to fight back against a dictator. Again, good thing we don't have to worry about anything like that. The Civil War, I went and saw this in IMAX, and I had a great goddamn time. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed, every bit of it. It is worth seeing in IMAX for the sound design alone. Alex Garland is a magnificent director, even though I didn't care for Annihilation, or as I call it, Annihilation, because I'm mature like that. I like Men. The movie Men, and even if you do like Men, it is okay right there. And also Ex Machina. The whole point is this is probably the most accessible of his movies, but it's also going to be the most divisive. But Civil War, I thought, was fucking tremendous. Just absolutely goddamn incredible. Just incredible performances. Now we get to number 14. Speaking of incredible performances, All of Us Strangers. Well, this made me bawl a lot. Good grief. The guy's basically able to visit his childhood home and somehow is able to see his parents on the day that they were before they passed away. And he's able to talk to them and work through that, and also work through relationship and stuff like that. And there are certain messages in this, like, what kind of life is he living? Is he really living? Is this his last fleeting moments on Earth? What's going on here? The performances are absolutely great, though. I mean, All of Us Strangers is exactly the type of film where it's like, Jesus. I mean, it hits. It hits. It does not stop hitting you. It pretty much just continues to hit you in the goddamn solar plexus emotionally, to the point they say, if you don't think you're going to cry, oh, we're going to make you. And All of Us Strangers is really great shit. Now we go number 13, Flow. One of the most recent entries on this particular thing. It's a dialogueless animated film with animals trying to survive a great flood. If you have a cat, you will have anxiety because you see the cat put in danger. I will say, as far as spoilers, don't worry, the cat is fine. But we don't get a lot of explanation for what happened. But it's also about climate change and stuff like that and everything, and working together, even if you're different species and come from different backgrounds. But Flow is a beautiful film. I don't think that it's in theaters. They're going to have a long theatrical run, which is unfortunate, because this is something worth experiencing on the big screen. But Flow is absolutely worth your time. Though we then get to Neon Studios' Robot Dreams at number 12. I will never hear Earth, Wind, and Fire September the same way again. That song plays at least 3 to 4, 5, 6 times in this movie. At least 3. It's great stuff. There's no dialogue. So it's funny, I put both dialogueless movies back to back. Robot Dreams just exceeds Flow to me with its messages about love and loss and stuff like that. And even though nobody's necessarily put in danger, it does have to do with, robot companions and, what you would do if you guys got separated. And it's just really good shit. It's a nice warm cup of hot chocolate, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And then we get to number 11. More animated. This is stop motion, though. Claymation, whatever. Memoir of a Snail. Well, this was sad. This was really sad. It was a lady recounting her life, the trials and tribulations she went through. And boy, that ending. Oh, it hurt. It hurt. I mean, it hurt in a good way, but it hurt a lot. Jesus, great animation, great voice acting too. Number 10, Sing Sing. Coleman Domingo deserves all the flowers, all the praise, and so does the rest of the cast, because the rest of the cast apparently they were inmates of Sing Sing that have gotten into acting, but that lended a lot of credibility to it. Another A24 offering. A24 apparently is just going to continue to pump out great movies. They'll also pump out Y2K and stuff like that. And Neon is right there with them. Neon also pump out stuff like Long Legs. Long Legs is not on this list because I didn't like it. But I did like Sing Sing and Coleman Domingo. Such a layered performance with other great supporting, roles. Beautifully told story. Very sad, especially about the justice system in America, especially for African Americans. People of color. It's fucking bullshit that people get accused of crimes that they didn't commit. But it's great shit. Sing Sing is really fucking good. I actually was going to rank this a lot lower, but the more I thought about it, I just thought Coleman Domingo's performance and just the layered nature of this whole thing, while keeping things simple, it also makes things complex with how the characters interact with each other and just simple inflections in the dialogue. I just fucking loved it and had to share it. I had to share my love for it, and I had to put it on here on the list. Number 9. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic? Furiosa Mad Max Saga. This should have done better at the box office. I'm cursing you motherfuckers for the fact that it didn't do better at the box office. Anya Taylor-Joy, the goddess that she is, absolutely deserved the praise here. Chris Hemsworth deserved his praise, and a lot of great performances. Yes, it is a requirement that you see Mad Max Fury Road so you can see these characters that were in that film in this one and what led to it, because it is a prequel about Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, who, had they done de-aging technology, I don't think it would have worked as well. And that's no disrespect to Charlize, who still looks incredible, is a great actress, fucking ageless, and is just bright and tremendous. But Anya Taylor-Joy playing her, or Anya Taylor-Joy, however you say it, she nailed the fucking role right here. It's long, there's that stairway to nowhere action sequence. It took a lot of days to fucking shoot. You know the one I'm talking about. And even though it dials back on some of the action, when it hits, it really hits. And it's one to see on the biggest screen possible. Unfortunately, it's not in theaters, but if you got a big screen TV, it's on Max. Check it out. This movie deserved way better box office returns than it got. That's unfortunate. And I didn't think I like Mad Max Fury Road upon rewatching it, but I was not sure how this was going to go. And within the first 20 minutes, I go, oh, hell yeah, this is going to work. Again, should have done better at the box office. Number 8. Strange Darling, the weirdest cat and mouse game that you will ever fucking see in a horror movie. At least as far as a semi-original concept. I say semi because I'm sure that there are obscure indie films from Europe that have done things similar, but it was shot very beautifully. Great performances, 2 lead performances in particular, and just insane. It does tip its hand a little bit early as to what's actually going on, but that doesn't take away from the horror, from the insanity, and from the fact that this movie deserves every bit of praise that it's fucking gotten as far as a horror movie, as far as psychological thriller, whatever you want to call it. It kicks it into gear. It doesn't slow down. It works so goddamn well. I fucking loved it. Number 7, Exuma. Honestly, my favorite horror movie of the year, even though second favorite horror movie of the year, even though one other a little bit after this could be described as horror. Exuma is it's a great South Korean, horror movie with good social commentary, great performances, and really just turns on a goddamn dime about halfway fucking through, and it's like, my goddamn goodness, that's where they're going, like, oh, this is good shit. And it really, really works. Fucking loved it. Went and sat. I'm going to still remember the theatrical experience. I actually, one of the best theatrical experiences I've had all year. Got a ticket, got a top row, and got ready and everything, and raced after work and got there on time. And I was like, okay, let's see what it is. And that motherfucker was jam-packed. I mean, there were a few empty seats, but that thing was really, really full. You might have been able to get maybe another 10 people in there. But it was a pretty good-sized theater, too. It wasn't like it was, like, super small. And it was fucking great. I had a great goddamn time with this, even though it was bizarre. Now, number 6, The Zone of Interest. Jesus, Sandra Hüller's tremendous and scary. And God, this story. And the imagery. The fact that this stuff was happening, because it's about Auschwitz, by the way, in general, guarding Auschwitz, and the family living right by there. And the sounds in the background. I'm not going to get into too much of it, but Zone of Interest is just exactly the type of film that it will stick with you. It was originally in my top 5. One bumped it out. Otherwise, it would have been. I'll get to that here in a bit. But the Zone of Interest, I mean, the fact that it implies enough stuff, shows enough, but it lets your mind race on what actually is happening, and the horrors and everything, and the threat of all is all around us. And the Zone of Interest is, oh boy, my God, me oh my, down on that river scene, or actually that creek scene, whatever. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. I believe it's on Max. Check it out. Number 5, The Taste of Things. Juliette Binoche and Benoit, I forgot his last name, but they were 2 leads. They play 2 people that do that cook dishes. Some call this Instagram meal the movie. That's kind of wrong because this has so much more to it. It's a beautiful romance, a beautiful story, and I really liked it. I did end up watching it again at some point within the last month. It still is magnificent, if not a little bit more so. And you know that this movie's going to take its time, and unfortunately is going to end up having a bit of sadness about it. And boy, does it ever. My God. But Juliette Binoche, tremendous. Still looks so good. Such great acting from the 2 leads, but even the supporting cast. And also, great shots of food. And it's a labor of love, and you can tell that, you know, they dive into these characters that love this food. It's beautiful. So number 4, speaking of beautiful, Love Lies Bleeding. This is originally number 2, by the way. I'll get to why it isn't here in a bit. But Love Lies Bleeding I've watched 3 times, and it's just... Kristen Stewart. Huh? I can't do it like she does, but that's great. Katie O'Brien's great in this, and it's just, my goodness. My goddamn goodness. A24 excelled with this. It's bizarre, it's bloody, it's wild. It's set in the late 1980s in New Mexico. It's about, obviously, if you can't tell from the poster, by the way, what it, you know, or the t-shirt that is, which is basically just another version of the poster. If you can't tell what this is about, and yes, it's going to have, you know, it's going to be about, you know, 2 women getting together, oh darn, that bothers you, then you need, again, pull your fucking head out of your ass. But Kristen Stewart with a great performance, Katie O'Brien, Ed Harris was magnificent in the supporting role, Jenna Malone as well. The lighting, the music, when it kicked in the violence, it was insane. There's that, you know, that one that competition scene that I think a lot of people like checked out of. I loved it because I love A24 movies, and they're certainly bizarre. But yeah, Love Lies Bleeding is just, that's about the best overlay I can give without getting into the spoilers. But now we get to number 3. Fuck you, you motherfucker. It's a Nora. Neon Studios' biggest hit, or at least one of their biggest hits. And Mikey Madison deserves every A-list offer. If she wants it, she needs to have it. Because this is exactly the type of performance you can hang your hat on, or hang your G-string on, or pole dance over, or whatever. Yes, it's about lady of the evening that gets swept up in a romance with a Russian, playboy, and then things unravel very quickly, and it's deeply comedic, it is deeply touching, and that ending scene, it's a realization of all the stuff coming home to roost for these particular characters, but especially the main character, that just hits so goddamn hard, and those that have seen Anora know what I'm talking about. I praise this movie to the goddamn heavens, and this is actually what knocked the Zone of Interest out of the top 5. Because originally it was number 5, and then Love Lies Bleeding was number 3, and I had to put Anora just above Love Lies Bleeding. And it's really tough. Like, you could flip those around and wouldn't be a miss, but I have to put Anora up here just because of Mikey Madison's performance and just the pacing and the laughs. There are so many laughs in this movie, despite the fact that the story is kind of horrifying and sad and ridiculous. It's mostly ridiculous, but it handles it in such a unique way. Number 2, you need to start winning. It is Challengers. It is the second messiest love triangle I have seen on camera. You don't want to know about the first. Zendaya, you have Josh O'Connor. You have just great layered performances here. Josh O'Connor, by the way, was in La Camera. And just so many great... I just love the fact that this made tennis interesting to me. Because the movie bopped back and forth with its editing and with its cuts. And its transitions from flashbacks to current day about just being this, just this tennis match of life. And 3 very flawed people. And just such tremendous work by Luca Guadagnino. I can never say it right. Luca G. I'll just say Luca G. Did Bones and All. He did the Suspiria remake. He recently also did Queer, which was one of the ones I didn't get around to, unfortunately, just because, guys, I mean, come on. I can only watch so many goddamn movies. I'm going to watch over 300 this year. Certain ones are going to be missed. But Challengers was number 1. It was number 1, actually, halfway through the year. But tremendous performances and just a great overall pace to it. But now, number 1. Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. This is The Substance. I don't really think this should come as a shock to anybody, because I have basically been talking to every man, woman, animal, vegetable, pillow that happens to just be on display at a department store and telling them to watch The goddamn Substance. And a pillow can't even get out of the store and get to a TV and operate a TV enough to watch The Substance. But you need to watch The Substance if you haven't. Demi Moore gives the performance of her career. Corley Farja deserves every bit of money slapped into her hand by A-list studios and say, show your vision. Don't go absolutely insane. Let's get a return on this. But you were able to do this on a fairly modest budget with great camera work. Margaret Qualley continues to fucking excel, proving that she's just like her mother, Andie MacDowell, by the way, just in case you didn't know. And again, Demi Moore, the performance of her fucking life. And as of this recording, if she does not win the Golden Globe, if she does not at least get nominated for the Oscar, I hate to say it, as great as all these performances have been this year, and there have been tremendous performances in the list here and in other films I have not been able to see, I assume that, again, I haven't been able to get to everything. Demi Moore deserves every bit of fucking praise. And there's the body horror when it kicks in. It's insane. That third act is absolutely mind-blowingly ridiculous in the best possible way. The Substance is my favorite movie of 2024. Beating Challengers quite easily, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, those are my favorite movies of 2024. What are yours? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.